So in this lecture we are going to understand the exception class hierarchy. We already seen that the checked exception and unchecked exceptions, and then we are going to do some little bit of the revisions along with the new topic that we would like to cover. So just to review what is an exception hierarchy is. So if you look at over here, exception is a base class which has got a runtime exception which is a subclass of it, and then we have the exceptions which is extending the runtime exception class. So the rule is, if your method is going to have the method signature containing of the throws any of the runtime exception or its subclasses, it's going to be the unchecked exceptions, which essentially means that the method does not need to be called from the try block. The compiler will not come and tell you that you need to call this method from the try block. If you have exception or its subclasses, right? I'm saying exception and its subclasses, not runtime exception and its subclasses. If you have a class which is directly extending an exception but it has no relationship with the runtime exceptions or its subclasses, those are the exceptions which are called as the checked exceptions. And in case if your method is throwing those exceptions, then it must be called from the try and catch block. And that's what the rule is, that checked exceptions are exceptions and its subclasses. It must be called, those are the exceptions which are checked by the compiler, and the method declaring of the exception or its subclasses must be called from the try block. There is one more understanding over here, is that exception class has got the superclass called as a throwable. Throwable has got two subclasses, exceptions and the errors. Now let's try to understand what is an error. Error are those situations which can occur which programmer does not have any control for. Something like out of memory error. What does it mean? That if you keep on creating up the objects into the Java program, and if you don't have a sufficient memory, there is a situations where Java says that I don't have memory, I cannot create the objects for you. And that's what the situations which you cannot handle. It's just the error which is occurring up. So in a simple explanation, exceptions are something which a programmer can handle by writing down the try and catch block. Errors are something which does not handle by the even if a programmer wish to handle it, it's not possible to handle. It's just a situations which is out of the programmer's control. There is another error called as a stack trace error, where you are recursively calling the method from the method itself. And this is what we mean by the error and exception. So in a simple sense, throwable has got two subclasses, error and exceptions. Error are something which cannot be handled by the programmers. Exceptions and its subclasses are something which will be handled by writing down the try and catch block. And then we have a runtime exceptions and its subclass called as the unchecked exceptions. Compiler does not check it up whether you are calling the method from the try block or not. Exception and its subclasses are checked exceptions, where the compiler will jump in and tell that you need to call this method from the try and catch block forcefully. And that's what the exception hierarchy is all about. Try to do some more reading around this topic. Very important topic for every Java programmers to understand this. Thanks.